Hello my friends, my name is Lindsey and I run the blog Books for Christian Girls, and welcome back to the little corner of the internet where I talk mainly about Christian fiction. Today I have Christian fiction and clean fiction, and there's some really good books, if I say so myself, so I'm really excited to do the birthday book tag. As of posting this, the next day is my birthday. I will be turning 25 on June 22nd, and since I typically post on a Friday anyway, I'm like, we're just going to do this the day before and have so much fun because I love these questions. I'm so excited. Let's just go ahead and get started. Question number 1 is representing birthday cake, and that's a book with a plot that seems cliche, but you adore it anyway. And now I actually looked up the word cliche because I use it, I know what it means, but I wanted a book that is this, that I can defend with my whole heart behind it. And I feel like you could say almost any fairy tale retelling is a bit cliche, but I've adored the ones that I have, and they're not cliche in my opinion, and that's not me being stubborn, that's just me being honest and truthful that they were great and original. And well, I'm just going to go with an old series that is a classic in my opinion, and that is the Anomaly trilogy by Krista McGee. It's an oldie but a goodie. I was there when book 3 released, actually. I'm an OG fan of this series. It just has my whole heart. I don't know what is it about this series that just gets me so much. Because this was really my first introduction to dystopian, the dystopian genre. I never read The Hunger Games or Divergent or The Maze Runner or whatever, all the popular ones. I never read any of those. I read like the synopsises of them so I would know what my friends were talking about, but I really had no interest in those. But then I read Krista McGee's contemporary trilogy and I was like, wow, I need to read everything this author writes, and this series was currently coming out. And I just fell in love with the dystopian genre because of this series. It is one of my very favorite dystopian series, or just dystopian books. I will defend it with my whole heart because some may call it cliche and dated now, but it was revolutionary at its time, okay? And if you got that pun, I'm proud of you. Question number 2, representing party guests, your most anticipated book release for this year. And now I just did a video, a few videos back, of my most anticipated releases for the last half of this year. So this honestly works out pretty perfectly in my opinion, because I'm almost right at the middle of the year, which I love. And that's always been my gauging point of when is the halfway of the year. Oh, it's my birthday. It's actually July 2nd is the halfway point of the year. I just found that out recently. And I was like, wow, okay, so I'm close. Close enough. But 2 books I am really looking forward to. One of them is Meeting Her Match by Turano. That one releases here coming up in July, but I would say I am most excited for Tracking Tilly by Janice Thompson, which is releasing in August. Meeting Her Match is a historical Christian fiction book, and this author has a lot of great humor. I've enjoyed the rest of the series. This is book 3, and then Tracking Tilly is the first book in a new cozy mystery series by one of my all-time favorite authors, so of course I am so excited for it. I've had it pre-ordered for months, and I'm fixing to pre-order book 2 because that one just came available for pre-order on Baker Bookhouse, and that's releasing in February of next year, but I'm very excited for all of them. Question number 3, birthday presents, a book that surprised you with how much you loved it. Now, love is a really strong word for me. I've said this all throughout my time here on BookTube. I will use the word adore, but love is just such a strong emotion and word to me, so maybe substitute that with really like, or maybe a 5-star read. But I would say 2 books that I just talked about in my last recent reads really shocked me by how much I enjoyed it, and one of them would be The Princess Companion by Melanie Cellier. Princess and the Pea retelling, I already really like that retelling because it's ridiculous, but how the author just made this story her own, and just the original details and the characters, it didn't let the fairy tale retelling or any of the tropes control the story. The characters and the plot controlled the story. I don't know if that makes any sense at all, but that's one thing I've noticed with a lot of fairy tale retellings I read on Kindle Unlimited, is they're always like, not bad, not great. This one was great, but they're just not bad, not great, and like you kind of just know where it's going, and it's not really any originality to them. Now, not all of them, mind you, not all of them, but there have been some that I'm just like, this was so like, middle of the road, run of the mill, mediocre, pick your word. they all sound mean, and I don't want to sound mean, but sometimes they're just like not super impressive. This, however, was very impressive. I gave it 4.5 stars, rounded up to a 5. Tabbed my copy up with lots of cute moments. This whole series, and I'm currently reading the spin-off series. As of filming this, I'm hoping I can knock out more of the spin-off series so I can continue on to the next spin-off series and then eventually read the new spin-off series. It's a whole world. But it's been really entertaining, and I really like how this author is just making the story her own and how things have been connected. I've really been enjoying that. So I did really, really enjoy this book, and I was surprised. Like, so many of my friends were like, Lindsey, it's great. You've got to read them. They're so cute. I get it. I get it now. Another one I really enjoyed that I was completely surprised by was Assassin of Fire and Sacrifice. This is a clean romance fantasy book. This one was also clean, no faith content, but both of these authors are Christ followers, and I just thought it was really different. I don't typically like sit to kill the person kind of trope. And it's kind of a arranged marriage as well, but she's an assassin, hence the title. It was just really interesting. I kind of like, I fangirled about this one in my last recent reads because I was just kind of flabbergasted by the world and how things were happening, and the ending, flabbergasted. I actually ordered this in hardback. I have it. Should I show it to you? Let me show it to you. I know I put a picture of it in my recent reads, but let me show you all this. Here's the hardback. Stunning, I have to say. Like, I'm not even into the whole, like, enemies to lovers trope. That's not a trope I enjoy, but this book did it well because of their banter. So I would definitely say those are the two most recently that really surprised me by how much I enjoyed it. Question number 4 is representing the birthday song, and that's a book that certainly deserves all the hype it got. So The Princess Companion could definitely work for this because I was behind on reading this compared to a lot of my book friends, and it definitely, after I read it, I understood the hype. It made total sense, but I kind of want to pick a favorite that I'm like, yeah, y'all, doesn't it deserve the hype? And I totally could do that, but I feel like I ought to pick one I'm behind on reading. And I'm not typically, I don't feel like I'm typically behind on reading a book or a series and then going, oh yes, I get the hype. Now I hope I'll be able to say this with the Ilion Chronicles, that I will just adore it. Pretty sure Celestia will block me if I don't like the series. And you know, I can't blame her because she loves that book so much, the whole series. So I do want to read that one soon, but I haven't read it yet, so I don't know. For me personally, is it worth the hype? I hope so. But elsewise, maybe The Accidental Cases of Emily Abbott. Abbott? Did I say that right on the first try? Abbott. Abbott. No, I got it right. I got it. Abbott. Go me. By Perry Elisabeth Kirkpatrick. This is book 1, Red Rover, Red Rover. This whole series has been really cute. Now, mind you, I have not read books 7 or 8, I think it is, because I've been told cliffhangers. So I'm waiting for the rest of the series to continue, and then I'm probably just going to re-binge these because they are so fun, so bingeable. It is about a girl who accidentally becomes a spy. I love it. I love it. Like, becoming a spy, yes. Am a spy, yes. Accidentally becoming a spy, yes. I will take any and all varieties of spies because I like spies. I feel like a lot of kids really played like that spies, secret agent kind of game when you were little, but I definitely loved that. Like, if we weren't playing house, me and my friends, and like that we had a farm or like a homestead kind of thing before that was even in trend, which is funny, we lived in the city, we were playing spies and secret agents and all that. So I just love a good spy book, and so this is just such a fun series. I'll say this series because I had a lot of friends tell me it was great, and I eventually finally read it, and I'm really glad I did. Now, I just need the rest of the series so I can continue on. Question number 5, Happy Music, a book with some very beautiful and truly memorable quotes. Now, maybe it's the marketer in me. For those who don't realize, I work in marketing. I'm a freelance marketer, but I also have a degree in social media and marketing and all that kind of stuff. So that's probably part of this, but I love finding book quotes that can just pull a reader in and then putting them on social media. It's kind of one of my favorite things. I mainly do it on TikTok. I do it a little bit on Instagram, but I've done it mostly on TikTok, and I just really enjoy doing that. So That's part of the fun part of reading to me, is finding quotes that's like, oh yeah, I can market that. It's an occupational hazard in all reality. I'm going to pull a few different books for this just because I can. So I'm going to. So first one I would say would be A Lady's Guide to Marvels and Misadventures by Angela Bell. Maybe not the best quotes to share off on social media, though I have a few in my back pocket to share at some point. There was just a lot of great faith moments and just the humor, and this was really fun because it's a steampunk-inspired historical fiction book, and our main girl's family is very unique, and a lot of people think they're crazy, and now she's got to deal with the new apprentice of her grandfather who's very secretive, and they really start off as like that enemies and then the rivals, and then they become friends, and then it leads to more. And I just liked seeing that progression so much, but there was a lot of different parts in here. I haven't tabbed my copy yet. I need to tab my copy because I have quite a few ones I need to mark. As for one that I think is great for pulling someone into a book, I would say The Debutante's Code by Erica Vetsch. I have put this one quote all over, it feels like, my social medias, because I just think that is just such a great tease into the series about a girl who finds out her parents are spies for the Crown in Regency London, and there's art crimes and mysteries happening, and it was such a fun trilogy. Definitely liked the first book the best, but it was a really fun trilogy. But for beautiful and memorable, I'm going to have to go with one book that has just stuck with me since I read it in 2014. 10 years ago, this one quote, let me find it. I know it by heart, but I want to make sure I say it right. So, Books for Christian Girls, the blog I have run, ooh, the lighting just changed in here, sorry about that, y'all. And so, Books for Christian Girls started in 2013. I read this book back in 2014 when it released, and 2015 I had this quote as my screensaver on, I think it was my laptop, for the longest time because it just meant so much to me, because I had read and reviewed a lot of books that I had to end up giving 1 stars because of content. And that was a really rough year for BFCG because of all those 1 stars and then the backlash and just the ugliness that came out of it. And so this quote that I read in 2014 really stuck with me, and it stayed with me all the way to now, but especially in 2015. And it is from the book Playing by Heart by Ann Mateer. I need to reread this book. I really adore this author's writing style. I think it's just so sweet. I feel like she's a hidden gem. Now all her books, I believe, on Kindle Unlimited under her actual name, which is Deanne Mateer. So I need to reread them. I've reread a couple of them in the last couple of years, but I need to reread this one because I always thought this was my favorite by her, or at least my second favorite, particularly because of this quote. But it's set in the early 1900s in Oklahoma, and our main girl has been told to come back home after trying to become a math professor, and she has to support her family, and the only available job is as a combination, where was it? Oh, music instructor and basketball coach, which she doesn't even consider those real subjects. So it was very sweet, very humorous. The faith content was lovely, but this one quote has just stuck with me. I've often had to stand on the firm ground of my convictions when others thought I ought to be doing differently. And that's just, yeah, that one's definitely a special quote to my heart. It's been memorable for 10 years. And like, there's books I've had lessons in that have stuck with me, like the Christy Miller series. There's been different ones that I think about those parts weekly. But this is a quote that just means a lot to me, and I definitely relate to having to stand on the firm ground of my convictions. So definitely beautiful, memorable, need to reread. Question number 6, Getting Older. Oh, a book you read a long time ago that you think you would appreciate it more if you read it now as a more mature reader. And as a side note, I don't like the word mature. I think it gets used against people in ways that doesn't need to be. But that's neither here nor there for this. For this question, though, I can think of the opposite. Ones that I read now that I probably would have enjoyed more as a younger reader. But I think I eventually found I really struggled with this one. Out of all of these questions, this was the hardest one for me to answer because I feel like not too much has changed on my taste, but maybe Katie in Waiting by Erin Mangum. I gave it 5 stars when I first read it multiple years ago. I found it just so wonderful and so encouraging, so inspiring, but I feel like I may get even more out of it now, but I still got a lot out of it then when I read it. I think I was like 18 when I read this, 18, 19, maybe thereabouts. When did it release? I think I read it around the release day. 2015, so I was 16, never mind. Wow, it's really been that long. Where is time going? I don't know. So I feel like I would definitely get even more out of this at 25 because how do I explain this series besides it's wonderful? I am actually really hoping to reread this whole trilogy this year. It's on my rereading list and I hope to get to it. But let's see, how can I explain this book? Katie McCoy has spent her whole life waiting for the right guy and he isn't coming. After relocating to Carrington Springs, Missouri, Katie finds herself getting more and more frustrated. Can't God see that she's trying her best to meet someone? Doesn't he care that she's lonely? What is she doing that is making him not bless her with this? With 2 new friends, Eliza and Ashton, by her side, Katie starts to realize that maybe God has bigger plans for her life than she could ever imagine. And I feel like this is just like, obviously I recommend Erin Mangum all the time on my channel because I have 2 favorite authors, her, Janice Thompson, that's it. Like I have other authors I enjoy, but favorite authors will read whatever they write. They could write a cereal box, I'd be buying copies of it kind of thing. I talk about their books a lot, but this series is one I just highly, highly recommend to teen girls, and young women, because that is, yeah, right there. The time of being single and like how the Christian world just views that, especially for young women. And I could talk about this for a while, but you know, that thing, if you're on social media, you most likely know exactly what I mean in the sense of that we feel like we're in a rush to hurry up and get married and find the right man that God has for you and then be fruitful and multiply. And this book really just highlights that God's timing's the best. Quit it kind of thing. And I always need to hear that message. Not gonna lie. Especially as like I see more and more friends getting married and having kids, and those I knew when they were little are now getting married, and that's just weird. So it's like, it's not a race, and God's timing is the best timing, and I just love how this book just does this so well, and this whole series. So definitely looking forward to rereading this trilogy this year, because there's humor, there's faith content. It's just the girls going about their daily life and the lessons they learn, and I just find it so inspiring, especially let me just do another plug for Anna Merringham's books, like I'm on the payroll. I am not, but I am glad if you pick up her books and enjoy them after I've talked about them. So the thing is with Erin Mangum books, I feel like they are even better if maybe you don't have someone who's like a Christian mentor, if you will. And now I'm talking to my fellow girls here. So like I think I read my first Erin Mangum book when I was like 14. I think Sketchy Behavior, my first book by her. I don't remember what my first book by her was. I'd have to go on Goodreads and see if it even says. I think I had Goodreads when I read my first Erin Mangum book. But anyway, so let's say 15 to late 20s, I feel like if you don't have someone that could be like a Christian role model to you, the characters in her books can be. Especially this series and the Paige Adler series, because they have such... They're learning, and they're not perfect. Most of them are coffee addicts, but they just have a real person-like thing, and we just see their lives and how they continue to grow in their faith as they just go to their day-to-day life. And I find it so inspiring, so encouraging to see that. Because yes, there may be some romance in the books, but that's not the main focus, and I love that even more. So, okay, I will get off my podium for this. It's not a soapbox, it's a podium. So, next question. Though the next question is also going to be answered with an Erin Mangum book, and that is number 7, Sweet Birthday Memories, a book that keeps you incredibly happy during a sad or demanding period of your life. So, any Erin Mangum or Janice Thompson book, it's not saying that I only read them when I'm sad or having a hard time, but I do gravitate towards rereading them when I'm not the happiest, because I know their books will make me happy. And they're just great. They just put a smile on my face. They encourage me with the faith content. There's humor. They're just great. They are my 2 favorite authors for a reason. So, yeah, I'm going to go with those 2. I don't have a specific book, but any book by them. Now, I don't want y'all to be snooping on my Goodreads and see like, oh, she's reading them. She must be sad or depressed. No. It's just they make me happier, and sometimes you need that extra serotonin boost, if you will, and their books definitely give that to me. So, there. No snooping. So for tagging some book friends, I'm going to tag 2 friends who are active in making videos and have birthdays coming up here at the beginning of July. And that's going to be Tabitha and Alicia. Both of their birthdays are coming up here at the first week of July. So sorry y'all for the quick turnaround. But this is a very quick and easy, very fun tag. I don't know. I really enjoy these questions. They're very outside of the norm book tag questions, if you will. Like, I've done a bunch of book tags over the years of my channel, but this one was like, this is really fun. These are really unique. So I just want to tag y'all if you'd like to do it. If your birthday's coming up and I didn't know that, but you would like to do this, please feel free to do it. Such a fun tag. You could honestly do this on Instagram too. So if you do it on any social media platform, please tag me so I can see your answers and wish you a very happy birthday. I hope you enjoyed this video. Tag videos are typically shorter for me, so sorry it's shorter, but I mean, I did give y'all some book recommendations, but I feel like those who have very similar reading taste as I do, or have watched my channel for a while, y'all probably already saw these answers coming, but I get to talk about my favorite authors, so that's always a win. We're going to keep this a shorter video. I hope you enjoyed it. Next week's video is going to be a really fun one, so I hope you will watch out for that. It is currently scheduled and planned to be all the books I have hauled so far this year. It's not as many as I've read. That's the problem. I'm in so much trouble with that. My poor TBR is exploding. But we're going to talk about those next week. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you next week. Thank you so much for watching. I am Lindsey from the blog booksforchristiangirls.blogspot.com, where there is a new review every Monday and Friday. I try to post a new video on this channel every Friday, and then I am also on Instagram, TikTok, Goodreads, all the many places to talk about the books here, there, and everywhere to make our TBRs explode. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. But I hope y'all have a lovely day. Thank you again for watching. Bye!